Hello and welcome back to another video. We're doing another one of my talking series. Today we're going to be talking about virtual reality in fashion. I am not a fashionista. I am not a guru. I don't know a lot about fashion myself. I prefer less clothes than more, but I have found that fashion has made an amazing and wonderful addition to creativity and individuality when it comes to VRChat and VRChat models. So we're going to go ahead and talk about a little bit about that. But I'm really grateful you guys decided to stop on by again and listen to another video. Hopefully this will be a fun and enlightening video, or at least an entertaining one at the very least. So most furries tend to typically keep things simple. Most models don't come with a lot of clothing, although this has been a trend that has been changing. This is a Hopkin. Hopkins were created, I think, around 2018. I'm not quite sure exactly the date, but this was an earlier model, and a lot of avatars had not much clothing. It was more about the design of the body and a lot of the things. This is my own personal Hopkin, mind you. But over time, we found that it's nice to show off all the different markings and color palettes and things like that. Texture work is incredibly important when making an avatar base really just pop. But you can go a step further with some clothing. So I'm going to go ahead and show you a few different things. Watch what happens when I start throwing on a couple new outfits. That looks cute, right? Yeah, that looks really cute. Then I can go into a different avatar. Completely different vibe. Mind you, this is a work in progress, but simple amount of outfit changes can really change the way an avatar looks, reacts, and how it expresses its characteristics, which importantly then allows you to express yourself better, because at the end of the day, most of these avatars are customized for us. Yeah, a lot of us use the same bases, the Nardo Raggin, the Nova Beasts, the Rex, a Hopkin, for example. There's so many avatar bases, I couldn't even begin to name them all. But that allows us to kind of pick a little bit of uniqueness, a little bit of individuality, and kind of caters to our own personal taste when we're in VRChat. However, when you start adding clothing and texture work, you can really turn that base, that generic base, which may or may not have blend shapes, and you can choose how big or thin, tall or short these different avatars are, but you can work with these avatars to make them more unique to you specifically. You see a Nova Beast, you've seen all of them, right? But once you start adding the right textures, changing with shaders, all kinds of fun stuff, the avatars look amazing. Once you start adding your color palette, looks even better. Now you're throwing clothes on an avatar looking completely different. Here's some more examples. Mind you, this is a test avatar, so don't judge this too harshly yet. It's looking really good so far. But check it out. We're gonna go to my Nova Beast. This is pretty cool. Beautiful outfit that really accentuates certain features. This is a customized Nova Beast, so it's a thicker edited one, for example. But again, you can see like throwing some glasses on there, a different hairstyle, different clothing, messing with the texture work. So you have like a sensation of fabric. Again, all of these different features can really just change the way your avatar pops and how it helps you express your individuality and your level of creativity. Now, if you're like me and you don't spend a lot of time in Unity and Blender or Substance Painter, for example, there's lots and lots of wonderful people who are out there working on these assets for you. Lots of wonderful people out there who are working on these assets basically for your enjoyment. So if you find a base you like, there's at least going to be a few people out there making accessories for that base. The more popular the base, the more accessories there are. I'm in my Nova Beast right now. The Nova Beast exploded on the scene quite quickly, and there were so many different clothing options for her, or for this model, I should say. And it's nice to have that varying degree of change. Now, you notice there is a tendency for a lot of VRChat avatars to have this sort of more sexy, more tech-y kind of vibes. You know, like we see a lot of tech wear, we see a lot of stripper, you know, lingerie, fishnets, thigh highs, you know, cool goggles, laser beams, things like that. There's a lot of neat stuff you can throw onto an avatar, and there's so many different ways to do it. But the beautiful thing is having these unique diversity of styles, learning how to do blender work and editing these different outfits can change a generic outfit into something unique. For example, this outfit doesn't look the same as what we put on somebody else's. Doll's Nova Beast, for example, has the exact same jacket as mine, but hers looks like a nice flannel jacket, very, very cozy and warm and comforting. Mine looks more clubby and poppy, like I'm going to a show or a concert or something. Every little bit of clothing can be textured, changed around with shaders and things of that nature. But as you can see, adding clothing can really change the vibe, the appeal, the visual presentation of the avatar, and likewise that visual representation can and will change how that avatar is perceived, and therefore how you feel about yourself when you're piloting your own avatar, for example. So I've shown you my original Hopkin, I've shown you my work in progress Hopkin, I've now shown you my Wicker Beast. And you know, you'll notice that a lot of times when you start working with these avatars, once you start messing around with it, you start adding more and more. Here's a couple of cool examples. So if I go to, let's see, this one, I can take the leggings off and the sleeves, changes the vibe, take the jacket off. Now I'm in a bikini. But I can add, let's see, if I go back here, I can add special thigh highs, and I can add a sweater, which now I have a completely different vibe, right? Exactly. You can find that a lot of people start making clothing, and you can buy these on websites such as Booth, Gumroad. Find them on individual VRChat asset creators, Discord servers, Patreon kind of stuff. You'll have to do a little digging. There's a cool website called VRC Arena where a lot of the stuff gets posted for furry avatars specifically, but it doesn't matter what kind of avatar you have. If it's a popular base or a base that's well loved, there's always going to be a couple of people making cool assets either for free or for sale. Always check the assets sections of the Discord servers of the avatar creators. You never know what kind of cool community freebies you might find, whether it's texture work or clothing and accessories. Some stuff is universal. Some requires almost minimal effort, just to plug it into Unity and boop, you got it on there with some default textures that you don't have to do much to. Some stuff requires a lot of Blender and Unity work to make it fit. Here's another great example. Moving on to my Dira, for example. VRChat, look at this beautiful dress. This is a gorgeous dress that was not made for this base whatsoever, but this beautiful dress was designed to fit a humanoid. And with a little bit or a lot of Blender work, we were able to proportion it. This avatar doesn't have a large chest, so that had to be adjusted. And you had to weight paint and change everything so the dress works within the confines of the body parameters of this particular avatar. That being said, VRChat is such a cool and wonderful place where we express our individuality and essentially, you know, show off a little piece of ourselves to our friends and the people we meet along the way, our communities. Having an avatar that has your particular textures or helps kind of represent you is really important. When you start looking at clothing and assets, there's a huge aftermarket for it. Now, a lot of new trends with avatar makers is to have avatars kind of come with a whole menagerie, or a whole wardrobe, I should say, of clothing already. Sometimes a few simple outfits, sometimes a bunch of outfits, sometimes tons and tons of outfits. You never know exactly what you're gonna see. And sometimes those avatar makers, if they're smart in business, will typically add a few more outfits that are DLC, you know, buy it on their Gumroad or support them on Patreon to get access to those clothing. But when an avatar maker makes clothing for their own avatars, avatar bases, it's usually a pretty good fit for the most part, or has a lot of the core features taken into account, so that it should hopefully be minimal effort on Unity or in Blender, which is always really nice. Here's a good example. A shark avatar that I've been using a lot lately. All of the outfits I have for her that already, now for example, this sweater came with the avatar, didn't have to buy that. Ignore the Christmas colors, but this outfit was also made by the avatar creator, so it was not that difficult to get that those clothing on the base. Essentially, what I'm getting at is you can really express your individuality, your creativity through additional clothing. There's so many clothing options, and we're just talking about furry stuff. If you start looking into the anime community with the e-boy, e-girl avatars, the human avatars, oh my goodness, the market is huge for tons and tons of clothing, accessories, and systems all designed for these avatar bases, and they're really, really amazing. Sometimes we can even take those assets like they did with that dress and bring it over to a furry avatar. It just depends on how much work you want to put in through Unity or Blender, or how much money you want to pay somebody to do it for you. But there are lots and lots of available options, many free, many that will work just right out of the bag, some that'll require a little bit of tweaking, some that require a lot of work. But this is such a cool community where everybody's willing to kind of help teach, help design, help push you in the right direction, give you the right information so you can do it yourself and learn. And a lot of people are very active about helping each other learn. But as you can see, the avatars with different clothing just really change the whole vibe and dynamic of the avatar. And I think that really makes this a unique world where clothing and fashion are starting to really play more of a big deal into avatar work and the marketplace. When we're in VR, a lot of times, especially with furry models, there was minimum clothing. I think the thing I saw the most when I got into VRChat was panties, thigh-high socks, arm warmers, scarves, hats, very simple, basic stuff that could be applied to most avatars relatively well. A lot of stuff was also ported from video games. The Hopkin has always had a hoodie that apparently, from what I've been told, could be a lie, was a direct port from a Fortnite hoodie at some point, and it's just been making its rounds the internet forever and ever and ever, for example. But as creativity has gotten, as with the community, as VRChat's community has gotten bigger and bigger, and as artists and new folks are coming in and starting to make their own avatars, starting to make their own assets, the community is getting bigger in the sense of communities, conventions, roleplay groups, everything, musicians, DJs, artists, community meetups, streamers, YouTubers. Like, there's so much to do and so much amazing stuff you can be in here. And even just on the social aspect of making amazing friends, whether it was you came in during COVID, or you came in because your friends dragged you in, or you had nothing to do, or you ended up picking up that cheap new headset at Christmas. There's so many people coming into VR, and as this community continues to grow, the demand for clothing and accessories to take these bases or take these avatars to another level is quite wild. And that right there is a super big marketing opportunity. If you can get into this stuff, whether you're making stuff from Blender from scratch or you're repurposing things with credit, of course, these are opportunities, because at the end of the day, we're all voracious for creating our own sense of individuality. One of the things I've noticed in VR, for example, is that, simply put, we all want to have our own avatars, like not just bases. Like, almost everyone wants to have a completely customized avatar from the ground up, from scratch, not a base. But as a lot of us have learned through past experiences, having a completely unique base avatar just to you is hard. It's very expensive to commission, hard to do, requires like tons and tons of expertise for rigging and all of the other stuff that goes along with that. So the vast majority of us which is pretty much the smartest thing, is try on different public avatars and buy pre-existing model bases, like, for example, the Nanami, the Dira, which this is actually a Kigi edit, for example. The Nova Beast, the Wicker Beast, the Nardoragon, the Wreck, the Mamajin. I mean, just like, there's a million of them. Like I said, I could spend hours naming every base, and even then I would probably barely scratch the surface. I think realistically, we all want to use models that represent us. And when you take a base and you see many other people using the exact same base, that lack of originality kind of feels, you feel it. If I see somebody running around in an Nanami shark like I am now, they're gonna have the same hair, same piercings, mostly same clothing. What's gonna set me apart is my texture work, data work, and then now I can buy some clothing, and then how you shade and texture the clothing with the alphas and everything like that. Accessories like my wings and my halo, for example. Other accessories like, fidget toys and guns and knives and all kinds of wacky stuff. Cool cues and things of that nature. There's so many different ways to accessorize your avatar, and I think when we start talking about virtual reality fashion, that's where we kind of take it to the next level. So finding avatars that have a large third-party community base of creators who are making clothes fitted to this avatar base so that it's effortlessly integrated into systems like VRC Fury, with Unity, things of that nature. It makes it so much more fun. You really see some amazing creativity that you normally wouldn't see. Sometimes the most simple thing to do is the texture. Texture and shading can make all the difference. But then when you start changing the hair, the eyes, and then you start adding clothes, whole different ballgame. So again, it's just something that really brings a lot of avatar bases that we all use. So many people will use the Rex. So many people will use Julia Winterpaw's avatar. So many people will use Ghostly's avatar. So many people will use Mari's Dira's. And again, there's a million of them. But even though there's such a large and wide diversity of avatar bases now, with more and more people coming and creating more and more bases, we're still going to find that we need to express ourselves individually with and our individuality and our creativity through customization. And again, with the fashion scene kind of coming in, I've seen more tech wear, I've seen more sexy stripper kind of clothing, I've seen more alluring clothing, but I'm starting to see more comfy clothing. I'm starting to see more casual business wear. I'm seeing everything from costumes like pirate costumes and ninja costumes, maid dresses. Oh yeah, that's a popular one. It's not always just thigh highs and harnesses. It's really starting to grow. Comfy pajamas, stuff a lot of us spend time just hanging out, vibing with our friends in cozy worlds, like you would on a Sunday afternoon with your friends. Of course some of us want to be in cozy pajamas, nice t-shirts and jeans, a nice sundress, sometimes just a t-shirt and some tidy whities. Who knows? Everybody has different ideas of what fashion is and what your style is, and if you can take something that's either interesting to you or unique to you and kind of adapt it towards your avatar base, that can make so much euphoria. Can bring a lot of joy to you when people say, oh my god, your avatar looks amazing, oh my goodness, look what you did, look at that shading work, look at that texture work, oh my gosh, that outfit is phenomenal, where'd you get it? And it's even more amazing when you're the one who made it, or you're the one who customized it, or you found the creator who's working exclusively with that base. So VRChat is a wonderful, wonderful place to express yourself, which you've heard me say many times before because I work and play in VRChat frequently. But the fashion scene is really coming together. I wish I had done a little bit more research and see if there's like actual fashion companies, I mean, there are technically. Gumroad and Booth are filled with fashion designers, everything from like recreating Converse to making your own unique tech wear line. And some of these companies are even slowly branching out into the real world, where you can buy the virtual reality version of a hoodie or a jacket or joggers or a t-shirt, and you can literally get the same version IRL. We're gonna see some really cool stuff in fashion, guys. I'm not joking. We're gonna see some cool stuff in fashion. But in the meantime, if you want to help the community, if you find a base you love and you're learning Blender or Unity, I highly recommend start making assets and clothing for your favorite bases, especially newer ones. But even if you have a beloved base, a Nanachi, and a Volley that's been around for a long time, making new assets and clothing for it can make a big difference for that community that love those avatars and helps us all express ourselves a little bit more uniquely. Guys, I don't have much more to say than that. It's just a wonderful thing to see that clothing and accessories are becoming a much larger part of the VRChat community. Now, I know it's already been strong on the human avatar side of VRChat for a very long time. But I'm glad to see that it's still continuing to grow. I'm seeing so many wonderful assets being made across the board, and I'm seeing more avatar makers, including outfits with their avatar bases, making third downloadable content style, clothing released with their bases. And I love seeing third parties coming in and making their own clothing, and I love seeing the creativity of the community. So, regardless of what your style is, if you can make it happen and share with the community. If you can't, work with what people have, find cool outfits, accessorize, and don't be afraid. Just because it looks like this on one avatar or on the Gumroad page or the booth listing doesn't mean with a little bit of work on shaders, textures, and alphas and things like that within Unity and paint programs, you can't make it into something unique and amazing. Like, something can go from looking like a nice nylon to a cozy sweater to latex. You never know how you're going to make it work. So try, talk to some cool people, learn some neat stuff if you're going to get into it. Otherwise, don't be afraid to peruse Booth and Gumroad. There's some other sites popping up more often now. And if you're in the furry VRChat community, go check out VRC Arena. It's a listing website where you can find all kinds of cool models, accessories, and stuff, and they'll link you to where you can usually find these assets. Guys, thank you so much for listening and vibing with me. Sorry this is another one of those little kind of last-minute chaotic videos, but I'm really happy to spend time with you. I'm grateful that you decided to listen, and I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day, and I can't wait to see you again, either on my next stream or on our next video. Don't forget to do the YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, give me your firstborn. No, I'm just kidding. All right, guys, I love you. Bye, everyone.